Everyone, this is my first time giving a real tutorial on anything VRChat related, but so bear with me, please. And starting off this tutorial, I'm starting a little series that I kind of go through all the VRCFury components and try to explain how they work, what they do, and what to use them for. So today's tutorial, we're going to be starting with the full controller. So what is the full controller? That is the first question that you may be asking. Full controller is, in simplest terms that I can think of, is let's say a way to merge controllers, parameters, and menus. It also has some other side features such as rewriting animation clips, which we'll get into. So for now, that is pretty much what the controller is for. And what you would use it for is usually with prefabs. It's mainly catered around prefab creators such as myself. All my props on my Gumroad, link in the description, will use a full controller. So this will allow me to merge all the animations, controllers, parameters, whatever I made into your parameters, controllers, menus, whatever on upload, as VRCFury itself is non-destructive. So starting off with our first example, what we're going to do is I'm going to add a empty game object. Doesn't matter, I'm just going to example. And we're going to go over to the add component, and we will type in VRCFury. So what VRCFury is, this is the script. This is the main script you're going to be using. So it's going to start off as empty. So what you want to do is hit the plus sign, find the full controller. Once you do that, just click on that, and there you go. Here's where the magic begins. So starting at the top of the controller, we'll have a little tab called controllers. What this is for control. This is for merging all of your animator controllers to your avatar, to your descriptor actually. What this is, we have all of these little layers: base, additive, gesture, action, FX, sitting, T-pose, and IK. So those can be easily found on your avatar descriptor. So for my example, my avatar has gesture Jax, Jax FX, Jax menu, and Jax parameters. This right here will merge everything into those. Starting off with the controllers. Controllers will have examples. We have this example of controller right here called example FX. Example FX right here will be merged onto my FX layer and nothing else. Now, you can add more controllers. So you can have one for like your base, which is your locomotion, your gestures, and one for actions for like emotes and stuff like that. Just animations base really. But case scenarios, you're most likely to just use this for your FX. So to get rid of them, you can hover over it, right click, remove item, right click, remove item, right click, and remove item. Moving on next is going to be our menus plus path or prefix. This will merge menus onto our menus. So we have a little menu called example menu. Now what's in example menu? This is where your buttons will be stored at. Your toggles, buttons, radios, whatever, puppets, blah blah blah. So this is going to have a button in here called VRCF button 1. So this is our VRCFury button. This is just an example, this is so to show the difference. In my current menu, all I have is sleep, which is my little sleep toggle, and accessories, which is a sub menu actually. And we can open that sub menu by clicking on it. In here we have VRCFury button 1, well, not a VRCFury button. And this is just examples to show that this is not a VRCFury button. So going back to our little example, we can actually merge. If we move this onto our avatar, this is now active. All this right here, what we have here, will now merge with our controller, well, our descriptor. But make sure you complete it first. You have to have a parameters there, or this will freak out and VRCFury will yell at you. And you don't want to get yelled at. So we're going to add our parameters now. So we have an empty. You can actually add multiple of, well, all of these. There's no real limit that I know of. I wouldn't recommend it, but there is that option. So we're going to need a parameters here. So we'll go back to my examples, and we have example parameters in this parameters list. Also, if you want to know how to get mine like that, I will leave a link to the repository on SDK Plus. It is a very good product. Well, it's free. It's a very good plugin, I may add. I would recommend using it. Same thing with my hierarchy. It's by Jadrith. He makes a lot of really good plugins for VRChat. Well, Unity for VRChat related stuff. And Hierarchy Plus is another free item he made. It's very good. Recommend it. Moving on. So we have this boolean here that's called VRCFury example 1. So what we're going to do is go back to our example, and we're going to drag that here. So now all this right here will merge onto our avatar. So we can test this by installing a plugin called Gesture Manager. It comes with the Creator Companion. You can all you have to do is just go to Manage Project and install it from there. So to activate it, you go to your Tools, click on Tools, and hit Gesture Manager Emulator. Once there, click on it, enter play mode. So it's going to do its thing, and we go to expressions, and we'll see that our menus are here. We have this little VRCFury button right here. Okay, now we have a problem. What if I want to add that button into my accessories tab right here? This is my already installed parameters right here. Well, menu, parameters and menu. That's already pre-installed. That's what I have on my avatar by default, or pre-built in, basically. So what if I want to add that button into the accessories tab? That's actually pretty easy. So first things first, we're going to go to our menu, under accessories, we're going to see where it says name right here. We're going to highlight that, Control C. It has to be named 1 to work. Go back to our controller, our example full controller, and we're going to paste that name in here. So now when I hit play, up here in the top of the middle, it's going to do its thing. Click on Gesture Manager, Expressions, Accessories, and boom, the VRCFury button is inside there, along with the non-VRCFury buttons. So, okay, now we have another issue we want to do. What if I want this to be in its own menu inside of this menu? Well, that's easy. You do the same thing, go back to your examples, and where it says accessories, you want to put a slash here, and we're going to type in sub menu. Not menu. This will generate a submenu for our control or our menu. So click play again. Go to our gesture manager, expressions, accessories, boom, submenu. Okay, now here's our final problem. What if I want to add a icon to that menu right there? That's another thing easy. This is actually a subcomponent that I call it a subcomponent. So what we do is click the plus sign all the way down here, and we're going to look for something called a override menu icon. Here it is. And we're going to copy this path, Control C and Control V. Make sure these are 1. So we're going to click on the icon. We'll click the little dot right there. Click on it. I'm going to make it this cube. That best example. So what we're going to do now, click on our gesture manager, hit play mode. Let it do its thing. Expressions, accessories, submenu now has the icon there. So now we have an icon there. And if we click on there, the button's in there. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So moving on, we'll go back to our full controller. Global parameters. Global parameters are essentially it's a case use scenario. I would not recommend using them. It could cause issues time to time, but if you're really needing them. So what global parameters mean is that these VRCFury will generate its own version of your parameters in here. So for example, VRCFury example 1 will be named something along the lines, this is not exact, but I think it was like VF and it had a number underscore. It'll name it something like that. But what if you want this to be named exactly as is? So we're going to Control C this, go back to our example, and we're going to hit this plus sign. And we'll Control V. So this right now will not be renamed. Now, I, again, would not recommend using it. This is a very case use scenario. Now, let's say you have a lot of parameters that you want to be global. Okay, so instead of just adding all those blah blah blah, that takes too long. So let's just remove all these, remove. What we're going to do is delete that, and we're going to put an asterisk there, or Shift 8. This will wildcard everything. This is useful if you have a lot of parameters you want to be named the same. Again, another thing I would not recommend using, but if you insist, that's an option. So go delete that. Let's remove that. So what is rewrite animation clips? This is mainly used for props. So props can be used on any avatar with VRCFury's full controller. So if you have an avatar that has the prop on the hand, let's say the Nardo. Nardo's bone structure is going to be something like, hips, spine, chest, right, left shoulder, left arm, and then you'll have like, let's say a Rex. They'll have a completely different armature setup. Unity will not remember this. Unity will forget your animation path and cause issues and errors. So the way we fix that is quite simple. We will. This is purely for prefab creators. So let's say example. It'll have a debug right here telling you what animations are missing that need to be rewritten. And what you can do is hit the plus sign, and we'll put example and put a slash there. This now everything that was animated, including this under it. So like anything, let's say you had an animation that toggled. Oop, that's the wrong one. Let's say you had an animation that toggled this game object on and off. This will now work universally on any avatar you have, as long as it's animated like this. I recommend making, what I usually do is I usually have a main folder. So this will be called, let's example, toy prefab, and then under that I'll have, I'll have blah 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 blah, and then so on, so on, so on, so on, and you can put that. You can put that on the example. You can put that there. So whenever you're animating this prefab here, these animations will get rewritten for your avatar's needs. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. And that's really it for the controller. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Some notes you should take that right defaults on and off. Most avatars will be right defaults on, so you don't have to worry. But let's say this is something that a lot of creators should keep in mind, is that they should always make their props if they're making a right defaults off avatar, because you can make a right defaults off prop and it'll work on right defaults on. That'll work, but it does not work the other way around, unfortunately. So what this full controller will do is it will read your avatar's right defaults. So if you have a right defaults off avatar, it'll automatically make all these animations in the controller right defaults off to match your avatar. So you won't have any conflicting errors, nothing like that. Now, advanced options, there's nothing really of notes you should really keep in here. I mean, if you want to have unsaved parameters for whatever reason, these are all deprecated. But other than that, it's not really anything you want to look into. Anyways, that will conclude everything. I do provide a Discord where I show off all my work, and I do provide support, and this is where I kind of keep like a little hub area for all my work, videos, tutorials, guides, help, support, whatever. And you can check it out in the description. I also will leave documentation for VRCFury stuff, the website, any documentation that I can find, recommendations, etc., etc. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, I will be making a whole entire series based around, well, tutorials for VRCHAT in general. Unity, VRCHAT, Blender. They're going to be all really specific components, so when I upload, they'll be specific. I do take suggestions, I do take ideas, whatever. Just leave a comment down or go to my Discord and leave a suggestion. And, well, that's all I have to say. Have a good night.